Hello, thank you for listening. This is the near death experience of Katie, and this experience occurred on April 14th of 2016 and was documented on February 25th, 2017. Open quote. I had awoken from laparoscopic surgery and was in recovery. I was told I was stable and when the room was ready that I would be moved. Suddenly I started to crash. My blood pressure lowered and I began to feel faint, although I was still lying down. My husband came into the recovery room to comfort me. He knew something was wrong, but kept telling me that he loved me and trying to keep me calm. He told me later that he saw my heart rate increase and the doctors were trying to calm me. The doctors huddled around me quickly and tried to figure out what was wrong. They lowered my head even further on the table. My left side felt like it was on fire and my right side was freezing. I was told by the nurse that I would probably be spending the night in the intensive care unit. I was later told I was rapidly bleeding internally into my abdominal cavity. My husband later told me that my lips were clear and my skin was a grayish color, the color of a corpse. At this point, I was getting tunnel vision. My doctors called for the surgeon and hustled me back into the operating room for a second emergency surgery. As I was crossing the threshold into the operating room, I was very faint and everything was very far away. I didn't have my contacts in my eyes and my vision was blurry. To the left of my bed, I noticed a figure wearing white who had neck-length hair and a beard. I assumed he was wearing scrubs. I pointed to the person and asked if that was the surgeon. The nurses and the doctors in the operating room told me that person was not the surgeon. That's the last thing I remember. My surgery lasted almost 2 hours after that, while doctors tried to stop the rapid bleeding. During my experience, I felt the sensation of timelessness. I was pain-free, which was the entire reason for my surgery in the first place. I felt calm, comforted, and at peace. I was not in pain. I was not alone, and was not scared. I knew that I was leaving my husband and my 2 young children behind, but kept pressing onward. I was surrounded by darkness, but I wasn't afraid. I did not see anyone who had died before me, but I did feel a presence that made me feel that I was not alone. I continued to press forward, but my thoughts kept coming back to my husband and my children. I knew I had to fight for them. The next thing I knew, I awoke with a jolt. I was hooked up to a ventilator in the intensive care unit. I have had 5 surgeries prior to this one and never had anything like this under anesthesia. I have always woken up with a realization and knowing about what has happened to me. In this experience, I felt like I was jolted back into my body and awoke having no idea of what happened. I was then informed that I had 5 units of blood transfused into my body in the operating room and continued to receive 2 additional units after that. I had nearly bled to death. It has taken me almost a year to process what happened to me. End quote. Wow. What a story, Katie. I wonder if if the guy standing next to her in the beard with the neck-length hair actually worked there. I find it interesting, and I'm not sure if there's a correlation yet, but like Katie says here at the end, how she's had many surgeries and she's always woken up and knew exactly what happened. But this time, when she woke up, she didn't know what happened at all. And we've read several stories where people takes them several weeks to figure out what's going on, doesn't realize where they've been, and a lot of it. There has been head injury and stuff like some really bad things have happened. So you can't really say for sure that, hey, you're going to wake up and remember, what happened, or if it has to do with actually, going to heaven, going out of your body, going to the place, going to the light, getting in the love, and then coming back. And that, I don't know. Something I'm going to continue to monitor and look forward to, look out for. There are some questions here. Question, comparing your consciousness Answer, I was at peace for the first time in a long time. I was not in pain. I knew I was leaving my loved ones behind, and to do that, being pain-free, seemed contradictory to me. Question, at what time during the experience were you at your highest level of consciousness and alertness? Answer, the thoughts about leaving my husband and children behind, but being at peace. Question, comparing your vision. Answer, in my experience, I was surrounded by darkness and did not see anything. The only thing I can't explain is the person I saw next to my hospital bed entering your operating room. The vision was fuzzy because I wasn't wearing any corrective lenses. I have severe tunnel vision, but when I saw the person I assumed was a doctor, I saw as clearly as the other doctors and nurses. Oh, that's interesting. Well, as clearly as she saw the other ones, meaning kind of fuzzy. Okay. Yeah, that would be nice to know. Fun to know. Question, did you suddenly seem to understand everything? Answer, and understanding that I was leaving and who I was leaving behind. I was sad to leave them behind, but I knew that I needed to. For a little while. She came back, right? Question about your religion before, moderately important. Protestant, United Methodist. And have your religious practices changed? No. And it's greatly important to me now. Same religion. Question, did your experience include features consistent with your earthly beliefs? I was raised United Methodist, and there is belief about heaven. I've always pictured heaven as a brightly lit place. We've discussed being healthy and whole again when you pass away, but now I know this is true because it is what I experienced. Question, did you have a change in your values and beliefs because of your experience? Answer, yes. The things that stress you out are not worth it in the long run. It is important to treat others with kindness and compassion. Question, did you encounter or become aware of any beings who previously lived on Earth, described by religions? Answer, uncertain. I'm not sure who I saw next to my bed entering the operating room. Question, do you believe in an afterlife after your experience? Answer, an afterlife definitely exists. Yes, an awareness of where I was going. I would be whole, complete, not in pain, and not alone. Question, during your experience, did you gain information about life's difficulties, challenges, and hardships? Answer, yes. The knowing about the hardship that my husband and children would endure without me. This wasn't explained to me or said to me in my experience, but I knew, and it was always with me during the experience. Question, during the experience, did you gain information about love? Answer, yes. I wasn't alone, and I shouldn't be afraid. Question, have your relationships changed specifically because of your experience? Answer, yes. My husband gets upset when I talk about it, but he is happy that I have made peace with it. Question, how accurately do you remember the experience compared to the other events around that time? Answer, I remember it as accurately. It took me several months after the experience to process and put into words what had happened. No psychic knowledge or special gifts afterwards. The best part, are there one or several parts of the experience that are especially meaningful or significant to you? Answer, the man beside the bed and the feeling of being pain-free. Question, what did you believe about the reality of your experience shortly after it happened? Answer, experience was probably real. At first, I thought it was the anesthesia. As I gathered information about just how much blood I lost, I realized it was definitely real. I also realized it was real when I thought about how startled I was when I woke up on the ventilator. I always woken up from a surgery with awareness that I've had a surgery. Question, what do you believe about the reality of your experience now? Answer, experience was definitely real. Prior to my experience, I had panic attacks regarding death. I no longer have panic attacks. My husband is greatly traumatized by what happened to me that day, but I view it with calmness, mainly due to my experience. Question: at any time in your life, has anything ever reproduced any part of the experience? Answer: yes. Hymns that I will hear will send chills down my spine that remind me of the experience. I didn't hear any voices or singing during the experience, so I'm not sure why it would do that. End question. And blood, in blood. Actually, there's one more question, and I was kind of reading it while I was talking. Question: is there anything else that you'd like to add about your experience? Answer: I am hopeful to share this story in guideposts as a comfort to others. I also want to raise awareness about donating blood. I'm here today because of someone donating blood. Well, that's a great ending there. Thank you very much, Katie, and what an experience that you've had, and appreciate you sharing it with us. And thank you guys for listening. I hope you have a nice day.